Hi, my name is Susie Pearl. I wanted to chat to you about my health journey. I've had a very interesting time and I'm asked by a lot of people what I did to heal. I was diagnosed with brain cancer about 2 years ago, and I was absolutely sure that I was going to get through it, although no one else was sure. The doctors gave me 6 weeks to live. And I did a number of things. And I'm often asked, what are the things that I did to get better? So I'm doing a 2-part video to explain what it was I did. So 2 years ago, my neighbour, I was due to meet for a coffee, and I was about an hour late getting to our local cafe. It's a place that we went to every day, or almost every day, to meet for chats. And I couldn't remember the way there, and I turned up an hour late. And my neighbour Liliana said, "Where have you been? Did she go shopping or something?" I said, "No, I just couldn't remember the way here." And she said, "You have been acting a bit strangely." And I said, "Well, yeah, I forgot where I parked my car last week." And she said, "I'm going to get you checked out." We went to see a bio-resonant expert on the island of where I live, which is Ibiza. And she did some tests on me and found that there was something wrong with my head. So she said, "Yeah, I suggest you go and get looked at straight away." So I didn't want to go. I don't like hospitals. I don't like medication. I don't like, this is the woman who doesn't take aspirin. I'm really not into all of that. So anyway, we went to the hospital and pretty quickly they diagnosed that I had brain cancer. And they gave me 6 weeks and they said, "Get your family out here immediately. Don't hang around. Don't wait a week. Like, they need to come now and see you." And so everyone was pretty sure I was on my way, except for me and my son. Both of us knew that it wasn't my time to go. And I knew that I could get my way out of this. And I'd spent 10 or 15 years working on the power of the mind and different techniques for healing and using the mind to create healing in the body. And I'd really gone for it for 15 years. So I thought, I'm going to just use every trick I know. And I'm going to heal my way out of this. And everyone thought I was crazy, especially the doctors, and especially my family. So I am a miracle. I had 3 brain scans. The first one was terrible, showed this terrible thing in my head. The second one, it was a little bit better. And the third one, completely gone. And when the doctor delivered the news to me and my brothers, he said, "This looks like a miracle to me." And in a way, he was right. It was kind of miraculous that I got rid of this thing. But also, I know that the techniques that I used really worked. I'm going to take 2 videos to explain what I did. I'm going to tell you 7 things I did on this video. And then on the next video, I'm going to tell you another 7 things I did. I did a number of things to get my mind healing my body. And I also went down I didn't want to go chemo, and I was asked to have chemo and stem cell therapy replacement, neither of which I wanted to have. But my family really, really insisted on it. So in the end, they got the big guns out. They went back to my neighbour, who's a very persuasive woman. And they persuaded me to do it. So I did. I did a number of other things. I want to share that because I think it's really useful information. And almost every day I get someone asking me, "How did you do it? What did you do?" So I thought the best thing is I can record a short piece about it. So the first thing I did was nail my nutrition. I've just written a cookbook on conscious eating, conscious living for pharmacy and restaurant in London. And so I'd worked with my friend Pietro to develop an amazing book full of plant-based recipes. So I was already eating a pretty healthy diet, and I'd written a book on how to eat consciously. So I was really more aware than most of the importance of what I was putting in my body because I'd just written a book about this. So I ate really fresh, organic food, really healthy green juices. I had vitamins and fresh lemon juice every morning in hot water, multivitamins, lots of vitamin C, like really high, 5,000 milligrams a day at least, vitamin C, lots of fresh fruit, lots of fresh vegetables, nuts, and then normal food like soups and stuff, but they were all homemade. And I was fortunate enough to have people around me who brought me in food every day. So if I'd eaten from the hospital, I would not have got better, because the food there was it was just dead food really. So I ate really, really well, and I had super juices and green juices every day, and high-grade cinnamon, black sesame seeds, garlic, a lot of turmeric, which helps with inflammation, helps stop inflammation. I cut out all sugar. Sugar is not your friend. If you have cancer or tumour, sugar is not your friend. You have to say goodbye to it. And really think about what you're eating. You know, as you eat it, you think, is this helping my health or detracting from my health? And if you do that quick check, you get a pretty good intuitive sense of what's going to work for you. Just cut out the cakes, cut out the sugar, cut out the fizzy drinks. That's what I did. And then my second thing I did was take CBD oil. The CBD oil 2 years ago wasn't really on the scene. It's much more prevalent now. You can buy in health food shops, you can buy on the high street. Medical grade CBD oil really helped. And the research that's coming out now for the effects of CBD oil on health is amazing. And it was great for what I had, a brain tumour. That definitely helped. My friends in Ibiza clubbed together and got some amazing high quality medical grade oil from Switzerland for me through a friend who's a scientist. And so I had that hand delivered. Thank you, Geronimo, for doing that. And I took some every day, and I still take it now. And I know a lot of people swear by it, and for me definitely helped. And I think that was a real big part of my recovery as well. That was thing 2. So nutrition, CBD oil. Thing 3 was something that I've written books about. It's positive thinking and the power of the mind to think positively. And I've learned that thoughts are kind of magnetic and have power, and that whatever you think about, you're going to create more of that. Where your attention goes, really, that's where the energy flows. And so if you're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die, or this thing's going to take over my body, it probably may do that. I was obsessively thinking on the positive the whole time, and I insisted that all the doctors around me talked a good game. I wouldn't have anyone talk about, they said, well, you know, we have to explain to you the worst case scenario. And I'm like, I don't want to know the worst case scenario. I am not working on that paradigm. I'm working on a different paradigm, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next, what I'm going to do when I get out of hospital, what I'm going to do when I get back home to my beloved island of Ibiza, which is go to the beach with my friends and swim in the sea. And that's all I would focus on. And my family were irritated by my insistence that everyone talks positively. It can be very irritating for people. People don't like it. But in fact, it works. You know, we are what we talk about, what we think about, what we feel about. You know, that creates energy in the body. And we are instructing ourselves constantly about how we're doing. So I instructed myself very, very strongly that I was doing fine. I was going to get out of this. And this was just a learning that I had to go through. And when I look back now, 2 years later, I still think that. I still think it was a learning I had to go through. Everything's changed since I had cancer and came out the other side. You know, I faced death really full on. In fact, I died one morning. I left my body and went up and came back in my body. But that's another story, which I'll talk about another time. So when you go through that and you face death and you come back or come out of it or don't die, you have a different relationship with life. You know, you feel very lucky, very blessed, very grateful for every day. So that's very helpful to get better as well. Connected to this, I had hypnosis every day. A very dear friend of mine, Amanda, was my hypnotist on the island. And I had a lot of hypnosis before anyway. I've worked with Paul McKenna for 7 years. I ran his business with Richard Bandler. The two of them were teaching NLP. And I ran that company for many years and learned a lot about going in and out of hypnosis. And I'm a big fan of hypnosis. So my friend, Amanda, my hypnotist, started instructing my white blood cells what they needed to do. The doctors were telling me my white blood cells were doing this, which was a problem, this thing, whatever it was. So I would tell Amanda what the doctors were saying, and then she would hypnotize me and instruct my unconscious and the part of me that's manufacturing the cells to increase the platelets or whatever the problem was. She hypnotized me daily. It was funny, I would be having headphones on in the hospital room. The doctors would come in like, shh. They go, what are you doing? And I'm going, shh, I'm being hypnotized. And they would just go, and they just thought I was nuts. But the difference was that I walked out of there alive. And I think many people, well, most people who had what I had didn't walk out alive. So I found hypnosis very, very useful. So we've got nutrition, CBD oil, positive thinking, hypnosis. My next big thing is meditation. I was a meditator anyway, and I have been for about 15 years. My method is TM meditation. I'm a big fan of TM meditation. I'm a big fan of the David Lynch Foundation that David Lynch, the film director, set up to get meditation out to the world. And they know the power of meditation is so great that they have taught around, I think it's around 1 million people, veterans, abused women, people in prisons, people, you know, at risk. They've taught them free TM meditation, made it available to help these people. And for me, it's one of the great healers. It's one of the great creative vehicles. It's extraordinary. And I think if we all knew the power of meditation, we would all do it every day. I do it twice a day. I did it in hospital. And again, you know, I'd be sitting there having stuff injected into me or having my temperature taken or my observations taken by these wonderful nurses and doctors, wonderful. And I would be meditating and ask them just to be a bit quieter, and they would go, why? And I go, I'm meditating. And they don't really, you know, they didn't really have a sort of compartment for that, but that definitely helped me and really worked. So that was something that I would, if you're going through any kind of ill health or trauma or anxiety, and a lot of people I know are going through that with lockdown and uncertainty about life, take up meditation. It's the greatest skill that I ever learned. And then the next one was I used music. I used music really hard to lift my emotions, to make me feel better, to make me feel inspired, and to make me feel good. I have my favourite albums on play, and I was listening to those in the hospital when I had to go in for horrible procedures or scans or something I really didn't like. Bam, best soundtrack I could think of, really uplifting, really feeling good. And that put me in touch with my heart. Here I am tapping my heart. Put me in touch with my heart and my spirit and my inner power to really heal myself. So I was listening to a lot of Nightmares on Wax. George is a good friend from the island, and his wife actually is my hypnotist. And that was my go-to soundtrack for healing myself and feeling better. And the lyrics really supported that. So I think music is that universal language that we can all understand and that we can all get moved by. Listen to some powerful music. It's incredibly wonderful. So I used music a great deal. So to recap the list, it's nutrition, really healthy, no sugar, CBD oil, get a good medical grade CBD oil and get advice on the quantity to take, positive thinking and visualizing, TM meditation, using music. And then the other things I did was I wrote a lot. I'm a writer anyway. I write books. I wrote a book on happiness. I'm writing a book at the moment on creative visualization. And I've just finished a book on creativity that's coming out this summer. And I found I got very, very creative in that hospital space, in that space of being very, very ill. I got really creative. Couldn't stop writing. I was asking everyone to bring me notebooks and pencils and crayons and stuff, and I was just writing down loads of notes. And when I was in the hospital, I wrote part of my new book, and I wrote a book proposal, and I was just writing film scripts and everything. I was really going for it. So I think that's a great thing when you're up against it, or in lockdown, or you're going through, you know, difficult times. Turn to creativity, turn to writing, and that somehow links you into really who you are, and it gives you a wonderful outlet for healing. You know, writing is very, very healing. It's a very, very powerful tool. So that's the first part of my list that I wanted to share. I'm going to do another video with the second half of the list. of things I did, and I've also done a blog piece as well, talking about all the things that I've done to heal. So to recap, I'm a walking miracle. I cured brain cancer against all predictions after being given 6 weeks to live and almost certain that I would die. Here I am 2 years later, an author of 2 more books and a series of podcasts that I've done since came out. So life's good. So I wanted to share. Do reach out if you've got any comments or any questions or whatever. I'd love to hear from you. You can catch me on Instagram, Susie Pearl X. You can catch me on Twitter, Susie_Pearl, or you can check out my website, susiepearl.com. I'd love to hear from you. All right, bye for now. Have a good day.